The Russian invasion of Ukraine has now hit its 1 month mark. Locally, we had a visit from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and gas prices are finally starting to take a small dip. I'm Stephen Dial. Here's your Fast Four. This week, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson went before the Senate Judiciary Committee. If her nomination is confirmed by the Senate, Jackson will be the first black woman on the U.S. Supreme Court. Texas Senators John Cornyn and Ted Cruz are on the committee and questioned Jackson this week. Cruz focused his questioning on critical race theory, while Cornyn questioned Jackson about her time serving as a public defender for 9/11 terror suspects. While Jackson is not expected to get overwhelming Republican support, political scientists say she could get a few Republicans, but likely not Cruz or Cornyn will support her nomination. The record high gas prices are starting to take a dip. The national average is still very high, around $4.23 a gallon. Here in Texas, we are lower. The state average is around $3.89 a gallon. In North Texas, AAA says the price for a gallon of gas dropped nearly 15 cents in 1 week. While the market is still uncertain with COVID, Russia, and inflation, we could continue to see small declines at the pump. There is a growing push from the federal government to drop the mandatory mask mandate on public transportation, things like planes and buses. The current mask mandate is in place until at least mid-April. With a big drop in new cases and more people being vaccinated, many Republican leaders have pushed the Biden administration to end the mandate. This week, Dallas-based Southwest Airlines Flight Attendants Union joined in the call to drop the mask mandate. The union saying passengers should have the choice if they want to wear a mask or not. It's been 1 month since Russia launched its attack on Ukraine. This week, President Biden was in Europe to meet with world leaders to discuss further actions against President Vladimir Putin and Russia. The attack from Russia has not only targeted the Ukrainian military, Russia's army has bombed civilian targets, including dozens of hospitals, residential buildings, and schools. Governor Greg Abbott has made the border and border security a top priority in his re-election campaign. His initiative, Operation Lone Star, recently passed the 1 year mark and has been a bit controversial. Joining us to discuss for our Sunday conversation, James Berrigan, political reporter for the Texas Tribune, and Davis Winke, reporter for Army Times. What's something that Governor Abbott has been saying is a benefit of this, and what's reality?
Drugs do flow through the ports of entry and migrants are coming through the southern border. The question really becomes, how effective is this mission from the state in stopping or deterring any of that? And how much return on investment are taxpayers who are investing or putting in $3 billion over the next 2 years for this mission, how much return on investment are they getting? So far, the answers are not very clear. And as a matter of fact, we just wrote a story in Texas Tribune with our partners in ProPublica that even the statistics to measure the success are very hard to ascertain and even determine if there's been success.
I know there's been a recent leadership change down there. Does that indicate anything as far as a change in focus, or is it just a leadership change?
The removal of 2 current 2-star generals and 1 retired 2-star general who is serving as Major General Tracy Norris's chief of staff, that's a really big shakeup. Although Abbott couched it all as personnel moves, saying that Norris's term was up, saying that the commander of the 36th Infantry Division, Major General Charles Harris, was retiring, too much happened too fast for it to be anything other than an expression of dissatisfaction of some kind with Operation Lone Star.
Why are some people so critical of this operation by the governor?
I think the results are not in his favor for how much money and resources we were spending down there. And for the Democrats, they characterize this as a humanitarian crisis. They say that we need to reform our asylum laws so that people who are seeking refuge here in the United States can get that refuge without facing, soldiers and border patrol at the border. It's very much a political issue for them too that speaks to their base.
Davis, this is a military operation. That's a big chunk of what the governor is doing aside from just building more border wall. There's been an impact to military members. Tell me about what you've learned in reference to a lot of military assets being sent to the border and a possible toll on their mental health, and some deaths have been reported.
And so when you see all of those issues coming together, with, no notice to drop your civilian life, feeling like you're not taken care of when you're there, endemic pay issues that were common early in the mission. That is a lot of stressors on top of a lot of stressors. And unfortunately, we did see some suicide deaths among troops on the mission and among troops who had been identified to go on the mission who hadn't deployed quite yet. And in addition to those, there's been other cases of accidental shooting deaths. There's been suicide attempts that have been stopped in progress. It's just a really challenging hand that these service members have been dealt down there.
To read up on all the latest politics in Texas and across the country, go to our website, fox4news.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of The Politics of Texas.